Reality is like a film set. There are directors,
Action!
producers,
Are we on schedule?
and even actors.
Can somebody get me a coffee?
The trick is realizing that you are playing all of these roles. You are the executive producer of your reality. My name is Daniel,
My name is Lauren.
and we're here to break the fourth wall to discover what's behind the scenes. And what you hear just might have you saying, "That's so meta."
Welcome to That's So Meta, where we discuss the mystical, magical, and metaphysical. My name is Lauren Marie,
And I'm Daniel James.
and here we are. We're back again in our home office. It's very nice. Is this the first time we've used this
Second time.
tapestry? Second time? I love this thing.
Yeah.
I think it's really pretty. It looks really nice.
We bought like 3.
Yeah. Trying to find the right size and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm glad this one worked out. I think I really like it. But yeah, so here we are. We're back again. Would you like to lead in the discussion?
Sure. So when Lauren and I are driving to the store, we like to talk to each other.
To fill the time. It's usually a long drive, usually a half hour or more. So we fill the time.
And we
nicely.
talk about the same stuff that we talk about on this podcast.
That's actually how we get a lot of our ideas is, we'll see something or we'll think of something on a drive and we'll be like, what really grinds my gears? And one of us will go on a rant about it. And then we'll be like, you know what? That's going to be a great episode of the podcast. So then we save it. But I think this is the first time that we're really going for a topic that we have previously discussed.
Yeah. So we came up with 2 topics on the way to the grocery store the other day. And I like this idea because it's a little conspiratorial, but there's a lot of science behind it for those who need the science. And it spreads an awareness on something that is right in front of us, all around us at all times, every moment of the day, whether you're awake or you're asleep. That when you have an awareness of the fact that it's happening, it's just interesting to know about.
Yeah.
And you will start to see it in your day-to-day life as you just carry about mundane tasks. You'll be like, I wonder.
Yeah. All right. It's I see that. I hear that. Moving on. It's just one of those things. You have to acknowledge it as it's happening. Yeah. So, go ahead. What are we even talking about?
So here we go. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Today's entertainment will be the metaphysical concept of what is so addicting about mainstream media. What's so addicting about certain kinds of music or TV shows
Or movies.
or movies? Why do they call it entertainment? Why do they call it programming?
Yes. That was a very magnificent way to introduce that concept. So when we were driving the other day, I kind of realized that the song that we were listening to that was by a independent artist, it had a feeling to it. It had a sound to it that wasn't like what you normally hear on the radio, what you hear from normal popular bands. There's a certain feeling that a very addictive, catchy song has, whether it's subconscious or conscious, that makes it a catchy, popular song instead of, something independently produced and created. And that even expands into films and television and
Anything that's broadcast over digital waves, airwaves. Anything that is wireless, projects light and sound.
Yeah.
You ever wonder why they call it programming? Back to your regularly scheduled programming. So Lauren did make a great point. We sometimes listen to mainstream pop
Mhm.
or mainstream rock.
Yeah.
We listen to a lot of different genres of music. But when we say mainstream, we're talking about big artists that have albums.
Mhm.
They're doing big tours.
Like stadium tours.
They have label backing. They're all label artists.
Mhm.
They have producers that are far, far above them as musicians. So, radio music.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about like, the television and the film side, but the topic started from listening to music.
Mhm.
So I am a music composer, and I've also been in several different bands performing and recording music. And I write and record my own music. I've been composing music for 17 years. And the reason why I say that is because I studied song structure.
Mhm. There's
I-
a formula to creating a song, whether
Yes.
it's through the lyrics or the harmonies or whatever it might be.
The
There's
structure.
a formula.
Right. And there's a
Clarified.
formula for pop music or
Mhm.
for mainstream rock music
Mhm.
where you have your intro, your verse, your chorus, bridge, chorus, outro.
Mhm.
And it's oftentimes you can follow that same template
Mhm.
in songwriting, song structure, when it comes to more mainstream, catchy music that has like a hook or a chorus.
Mhm.
So what Lauren pointed out, what she noticed was that you could take an independent artist that isn't on big label money
Mhm.
and being broadcast on radio stations or has music videos on, network television, things like that. And they use the same song structure, the same writing formula. And they have certain patterns and tropes that they'll use in their music that is generally catchy.
Mhm.
And it's still good.
Mhm.
But then you can take another artist within the same genre
Mhm.
that writes and records the same music, but they're long time standing in labels,
Mhm.
big tours, big merchandise, big budget music videos, household names, icons that you know when you see their face. And they write songs that are in the same format, in the same structure. They have producers and they're done in big studios. So you're fundamentally getting the same product.
Mhm.
Sure, maybe there's different musicians behind the orchestration and there's different producers, different mixing and mastering, but that's not what we're talking about. You take the same formula and the same genre of music
Mhm.
up against an independent, unsigned artist
Mhm.
that's doing the same thing. It still has a very high production value in the quality of their recordings. But there's something different
Mhm.
about that pop artist's music
Mhm.
than there is about the unsigned independent artist.
Mhm.
And that's what you noticed.
Yeah.
You caught on when it comes to music. So when you told me that, it prompted me to think about other types of programming that exists in mainstream music and television and film and the news, anything that comes broadcast over the digital airwaves. This is a very old concept we're talking about.
Mhm.
Okay? Has anybody ever seen the movie They Live?
It's a classic movie. You have to see it at least once.
Obey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Obey.
More of that, if you can.
Oh.
For people who are just listening, he is pantomiming the major poster, pretty much, of They Live.
Okay.
The glasses. Yeah.
Watch the movie if you haven't seen it or look it up.
Yeah.
The concept of the movie basically is that there are shadow organizations
Mm-hmm.
that have found a way using technology to insert invisible frequencies,
Mhm.
which in terms of sound and waves, there are dips and spikes,
Right.
nodes in music
Mhm.
in a waveform that is sound, whether it's just a knock or a whole song. It's all in waveform
Right.
of invisible sound waves. And they were able to program specific
Subliminal messages in
subliminal messages
yeah.
in waveforms.
In posters, in commercials, in songs, whatever it was. In the film itself, it's an alien group.
It's a
that
negative
is like,
alien
yeah,
group.
it's a negative ET group, and they're inserting themselves into society as people that like your neighbors, people at the grocery store, all that stuff, in order to influence humans into a very consumer-based lifestyle.
Congruent.
Very congruent lifestyle. One scene in it, he's watching a commercial on TV, I believe. Maybe he's watching paid advertising from back in the day, and it's an alien. Once he puts on the glasses, he can see it. It's an alien doing the advertisement, and it's all just buy, consume,
Obey.
obey.
The idea is that they can take sound waves that are invisible and mostly inaudible, or they can actually code light. They can code data into the light frequency that's projected from your television. And in these frequencies, they can code certain commands that are subliminal. You don't hear them, you don't see them, you don't taste them, you don't touch them. So it's not a 3D senses thing.
Right.
It's invisible, but you're still being
Influenced by them.
basked and subdued by it. It's like a type of subliminal, suggestive programming, which is why they call it programming, because there are programming frequencies coded into the media, whether it's audio or visual. It can happen through both. And so when we going back to the music concept, I realized that, okay, that reminds me of something. There was a study done on mainstream food, fast food, that there is a chemical substance that is not food. It's not part of any of the ingredients of the food you eat. It's a chemical substance that is added to the food itself that makes it more addictive.
Yep. And
What-
that's scientific backing, saying like this food is specifically designed so that you will want more of it. It's like Aquafina, right? Or is that what I'm thinking of?
Dasani.
Dasani, sorry. They have a chemical in the water that makes you more thirsty.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
like
you
a
buy more water.
salt agent that just
Yeah.
makes you thirsty, so you drink and drink and drink, and you're
Yeah.
never actually having your thirst quenched.
Yeah.
Even when you're drinking water. So I think that it was one of the biggest leading fast food chains in the world is using a chemical inside of it that is just an addictive agent. It has no nutritional value. It's just there to make the food more addictive.
Right.
So then back to the music thing. I'm circling around here.
No, you have to hit all the points. You're good.
I compose and I write music, and I use editing programs and software where you can stack multiple layers of audio to build your total piece, right? And you can see the waveforms in it. That got me thinking that music producers of mainstream music of all genres, not just pop, but country and metal and anything that's like designed to be broadcast in a mass way, they can take frequencies that are invisible and they're inaudible, you don't hear them, and just mix that in to the sound mix when the song's being produced that is like an addictive, repetitive, invisible waveform that you hear and you feel that gets you hooked on that chorus, gets you hooked on those lyrics. And it's so powerful in its ability to program you subliminally that's why, like in rap music or country, when they sing about specific things with specific lyrics, you're being coded, you're being programmed into agreeing with the statement,
The buzzwords.
the buzzwords,
Yeah.
cars, money, girls, jewelry,
Cold
trucks, cold beer,
beer. Yeah.
Tractors.
Yeah, there are certain buzzwords. Like the Bo Burnham, the two Bo Burnham songs, 'cause I love Bo Burnham. Pandering, which is about the country music industry and how all you have to say is cold beer, a pickup truck,
Keywords
and then your song's a hit.
with a chorus. a
And
catchy
the other
chorus.
one is, what's the name of the other one? Where he's a pop star.
Yeah.
Repeat Stuff. The name of it's Repeat Stuff. He's a pop star, and one of the lyrics is, you need to know the words after just one listen, so that you repeat it, so you can keep singing it, so that it's stuck in your head because you know 3 words from it.
Right. But that's just in the songwriting structure. And that gets back to the original point that an independent artist can write a song to that structure
Yeah.
and use those keywords in a format that's catchy and will get you hooked on the song. But it won't have the same effect on you physiologically or emotionally as the mainstream version that's big studio, big money, because they're coding that music with a frequency, like it's like a drag and drop waveform that they mix into the music that you don't hear or see or smell or taste or touch, but it is there, and it gets you more addicted to the song. And not just that, but it will get you congruent with the song's message, and that's the worst fucking part.
Yeah.
Whatever that artist is singing about, you will resonate with, you will agree with, you will go out and buy those clothes or do that thing to that person or live this lifestyle about whatever they're singing about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they're this big flashy icon that you worship. It's because there is frequencies coded in the music
Mm-hmm.
that are turning you into a zombie
Mm-hmm.
to buy, consume,
That
behave,
can, yeah.
right?
That can. It
Well,
can affect you in that certain type of way
it can.
until you understand like the frequency itself existing, and then you have an awareness of it, and then you can
Right.
kind of decide how it affects you.
So once you have an awareness of the fact that this exists in television, okay, news is really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're watching the news, they'll use keywords and buzzwords,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll have certain things going on the screen
Mm-hmm.
that are designed to sort of like infect you,
Yeah.
using fear and getting your emotions triggered and getting your emotion triggered to a specific outcome that they talk about
Mhm.
or a big risk factor. You know,
Yeah. The scarier
breaking
the,
news.
Yeah, the scarier the news story is, the more viewers they'll have and the
Yeah.
more money they make. Everything goes back to the money. So
Yeah, it
yeah, the
does.
fear or the news is heavily influenced.
Heavily
by,
influenced. So like if you watch They Live, it's all about the news stations,
Mhm.
and they have like these radio towers
Mhm.
that nobody knows about that are broadcasting a signal that is invisible to you. So whatever they talk about, you just agree to.
Like that has to be the way.
You're being
This
influenced.
credible source is talking
Yeah.
about it.
So not only does mainstream food
Mm-hmm.
put something addictive into their products,
Mhm.
but music is a product.
Mhm.
It's not just an art form anymore. It's a product.
Yeah.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Mhm.
Is being coded.
Yeah.
Television and entertainment is being coded. Now, I'm not saying throw all your CDs and your movies in the trash.
Oh, absolutely not.
But what I am saying is look at things from the perspective that not everything, even entertainment, has your best interest.
Right.
That a lot of stuff is heavily agenda based.
Mhm.
You know, even entertainment. And the reason that they call it entertainment is because they are entering your psyche. They're entering your mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're entering your belief structures. You're
Mhm.
being entertained, subdued, distracted.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I mean, that sort of regularly scheduled programming, you know, when we watch Netflix and TV and movies,
Mhm.
you sit there and you zone out
Yeah.
for an hour.
6 hours if you binge watch something.
You binge it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever ask yourself, what is so addicting
Right.
about that? Why can't you get up and go outside
Mhm.
for a minute?
And we're not saying that it's a bad thing because
Because we watch TV, we
Yeah.
watch movies. Listen, we listen to music.
Yeah, we love it all. We're huge consumers of media,
Yes, we are. We make
Well,
media. We
and we
consume
make it,
media.
and we consume it. But at the same time, you also have to be selective, and you also have to be able to protect yourself.
Right.
And have a understanding of how to discern between what's just like fun because you don't really want to think too much,
Yeah.
and what's going to influence you and kind of take advantage of the fact that you don't feel like thinking at that moment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was also, fun fact, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but there was a study done about like the number one thing that makes people cry has like a very strong emotional response, and people were saying, you know, like, is it like sad movies, is it sad TV, is it books, like what is it that has like such a strong emotional response in people? And it was conclusively decided that music has the biggest emotional response.
Mm.
So when you think of certain types of film,
Mm.
the score
Yeah.
generally is the thing that makes you
Hits you.
cry, and not necessarily the plot or the characters or the story. It's usually just like the music. So that's another backing to like the frequency itself has an influence on even just your mood. Like, have you ever watched a really kick-ass movie and you leave the theater and you just want to beat somebody up because you're like in that vibe, like you're feeling like
You're gassed
getting
up.
in, yeah, you're getting into a fight. That's what it does. It influences you to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another good point, because we were talking like a long time ago about music again, because music does trigger me into these thoughts.
Mhm.
Like if you listen to sad songs
Yeah.
about breakups,
Yeah.
or like the Bleeding Heart
Yeah.
poets and the unrequited love songs, you know,
Mhm.
like every pop song on the radio is about like a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that you listen to a song when you're in a certain kind of mood and you think that that song just gets you, it understands you.
Yeah.
It's like speaking your truth.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around?
Mhm.
Are the frequencies coded in that music creating a certain type of behavior, belief structure,
Mm-hmm.
in the way you handle your relationships, in the way you look at them, in the way you feel about them? If you think about it, they're all very disempowering.
Yeah. And that once again goes back to the money-making machine, because
Yeah.
if everybody's a bleeding heart romantic, of course they'll celebrate Valentine's. Of course they'll
Yeah.
buy these extravagant gifts. Of course they'll try to look their best and feel their best in order to get the best partner. And, you know, film and TV has made such a profit off of the idea that if you find your true love, you will be happy.
Yeah.
You know, so of course it's going to perpetuate that sort of idea.
And the fairy tale agenda.
Yeah. Which,
It's in music and movies. It's the biggest trope of like that fairy tale
Yeah.
soulmate paradigm in all music,
Mhm.
pop and stuff. It's just
Everything.
there. And it's like, I look at relationships in such an empowering way now.
Yeah.
But if I listen to that music, it makes me feel like a fucking victim.
It makes me feel like a bleeding heart kid again.
Yeah.
Where you're just like young and full of hope.
Like I'm not worthy of love and I'll never find the
Yeah.
one. I know that the one is out there,
Yeah.
but
It's
that one isn't it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
And there's nothing wrong with that belief structure, because I think that it's very hopeful and sweet and peaceful. But there does come a time when realism kind of has to hit. And it's like, if I don't like myself, if there is something like deeply wrong with me, then like I have to fix that before I invite anybody else into this mess, you know? But yeah, that's the biggest profiter. And especially like weddings and stuff.
Weddings, don't get me going about weddings.
That's how you make the most money, is
Yeah.
the wedding tax. Like if you say it's for a wedding, they're gonna hike the cost up by like
Yep.
300% just
We
because
work in the
of
wedding
true
industry.
love.
We work in the wedding industry,
It's
and so
because of love. You're gonna pay so much money to be in love.
how much money can you spend to show the value of your relationship?
Yeah, but it's frustrating because, you know, love is great, and it's tainted a little bit because of that. But
But it goes back to our mainstream media, our pop
Exactly.
culture.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not blaming the artistry of it, because I'm a creator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I work in the television and the film industry. But I often think that sometimes there's a difference between art and a product. And I think a product can be made of art.
Mhm.
But when you get really deep into that sort of like big money industry, you start noticing a lot of the same patterns.
Yeah.
And I think that the patterns are driven by the programming that is secretly coded behind the most successful
Mhm.
of all forms of entertainment.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does. It sure does. But then there are certain, you know, forms of entertainment that have gotten pretty big mainstream attention, and they've still kept their integrity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a very fine line.
Yeah.
And I don't know how
The line's
some
invisible.
of these people are making it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Right? You look at some very successful
yeah.
situations and you're like, how?
Like how'd you do that? How
Yeah.
did you keep your integrity and still, you know, feed yourself to this sort of machine? But
Yeah. That's a whole other episode.
that's a whole other episode right there. Yeah.
Regularly scheduled programming
Yeah.
and entertainment.
And there you have it.
Well, these are just more empowering ways to sort of look at paradigms
Mhm.
that are all around us, part of our daily lives and routines. And, you know, many of us do these for jobs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that work in these industries they don't even know. They don't even know that this is happening either,
Yeah.
because it's not like we're all in on it. Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like
I
this,
do.
it's not like it's not like the people that all work in the industry where programming exists are doing the programming.
Mhm.
A lot of us are just human beings that have jobs and want to tell stories, whatever.
Yeah.
I get that. And that exists too.
Mhm.
This is just another way to look at the greater, the greater map.
Yeah. And it was just an interesting idea that we thought we would share
Yeah.
because we had a good kick out
It's
of
a good
it
chat.
on the drive to the grocery store, and
Yeah.
I just thought we would share.
Hope that this helps you in some way. Maybe you can look at entertainment a little differently.
Mhm.
And we're not saying, throw out all your favorites. We're just saying
Of
look
course
at
not.
things a little differently with
Yeah.
a greater perspective.
Mhm.
Question things a little more.
Mhm.
Trust yourself. If something feels good, it's good.
Yeah.
If something looks good, sounds good, and is very popular, but doesn't feel good, maybe there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Go with what you resonate with, and
That's a big point. That's a huge point, is kind of feeling it out for yourself individually.
Yeah.
What feels okay.
Yeah.
If you hear something and it's catchy and it's popular and you're like, I should probably like this. I'm still singing it, but you don't.
right. Yeah, I'm not a go with the herd type of person.
Yeah.
So whenever like the new big movie is out or the new big song is out,
Mhm.
I don't just like it because everybody else does or because it was produced very well, had a big budget,
Mhm.
and there are famous people involved.
Mhm.
Does it feel good? Does it resonate with me? Do I genuinely like that?
Mhm.
I just think for myself.
Yeah.
And I believe that everybody else can too, when they're given the tools to know where to look.
Right.
That's pretty meta.
I'd say that's pretty meta.
So the next episode is a topic I've picked out,
Mhm.
and this one is on the topic of spiritual technology.
Mhm.
What's that mean? How do you do that?
We're going to find out.
Let's
We're
talk
going
about
to
it.
find out.
I mean, you got anything else to close it out?
No. I think we're about good.
Good.
Mhm.
Well, Lauren, that's so meta.
Cheers.